I told him this story last night, so I'm excited. You know, we had our little photo shoot for BDT.
Right.
And so I'm feeling cute. I got my makeup done. I'm getting dressed. I get in the mirror, right back.
Right.
I told you, I tried to bust a little twerk moment.
That's not funny to me.
My back said, oh.
That's not funny.
I said, oh, okay, let me try one more time, make sure it's real.
That's not funny.
So I tried it again.
We were just young and vibrant.
And my back said, no, girl, you can't do that.
That was the Lord telling you not to do that no more.
Because he wants me to preserve my back.
Right.
And so
Get
I
some
came
wisdom.
to the realization
Turmeric.
yesterday
Herbs.
that
Stretch.
Yoga. I have reached the auntie twerk stage. I'm okay with that too.
Hey, so listen.
I'm at the auntie twerk stage.
So what's crazy?
It's cool though.
No,
it's cool. I like it here.
Welcome back to Big Dog Talk Podcast. And it's me, Big Charles.
Have a little lint in your hair. It's your girl, Big Shay.
Listen, first of all, we're at work. Don't ever get on the microphone like that. Talking about, hey, it's your girl, Big Shit, like you don't want to be here.
I definitely want to be here.
You make it known now.
I'm here.
And so before we even get started, listen, I got an attitude.
I was just about to say it's very rare, but for you to have an attitude.
Because you and the production team.
Oh, what we do? Because I'm about to back them up. What we do?
If you're looking at the YouTube clip right now, and you seeing that all of my muscles are popping out, my shirt is too small. The production team suggested that I change my shirt. And and it looks like I have on my son shirt.
Medium.
It's embarrassing. It's definitely embarrassing. So don't judge me. It's the production team and my wife's idea.
Okay. No, I did not support
You agreed.
that.
Oh, you
No, that wasn't me.
All right,
I said, what are you doing?
So I got an attitude because I feel like my brain is about to pop out my head.
However, I would like to note that
You looking sexy though? Go ahead.
you've been spending some time in the gym.
Yeah. Talk about it.
You don't need the shirt for that, but the shirt just really shows that you've been spending some time in the gym.
Girl.
Okay, Big Charles. Okay.
Girl.
You like that?
Hey, talk about how much. No, I'm just joking. Thank you for the compliment.
You look good.
And your skin is always glowing.
Self-care.
You have some really good skin. You the one that got me like taking care of my skin.
Listen, men
Got
and
me doing
women
the spray
alike.
every night.
Take care.
The serum.
You only get one face. You only get one face.
I get in the shower. I gotta scrub it.
Yeah, you got your serum. You got your moisturizer. You got your rose water spray. You gotta take care. Ladies and gents, you gotta take care of your skin.
Big on that, Jack.
You have to take care of your skin.
Got the kids taking care of their skin.
You have to take care of your skin. It's the secret weapon
The
to
skin that you're in.
youthfulness.
It is.
Come on.
It is. And so I gotta be honest.
Anti-wrinkle serum.
Yeah. I gotta be honest now, cause I make 39. I make 39 in August, and I've seen some of my peers.
Shout out to your last year in your 30s.
If you ever want to know how like you're good, how good you look or good you're doing, like physically, you just look at the people that you went to school with.
It's tight, but it's right.
And
It's tight, but it's right.
Yeah.
It's tight.
But anyway, man, welcome back to another episode of the Big Dog Talk Podcast, man.
So I just noticed that you tried to skip over the fact that I wanted to give you a shout out for you getting ready to celebrate your last year in your 30s.
Is the phone going off?
Who's calling?
Is the phone going off? It's all good. No, leave it. It's all good. They know Big Charles is very authentic.
Welcome to the BDT studio.
Right.
We
It's
got
how-
phones, we got copiers, we got
We got
parrots,
Paris
we got
chirping
friends,
in the
we
background.
got
That's just how it goes.
snacks, drinks, all the things. However,
Message.
uh,
But anyway, welcome back to another episode
you're
of the
doing
Big
it
Dog
again.
Talk
Excuse me.
Podcast.
You continue to try to jump over the fact that you're celebrating in a short time here.
Yeah.
Your last year in your 30s. Let's talk about that.
It's kind of
though.
it's kind of
I want to know.
I'm an OG.
So I would definitely say that you are definitely entering into OG status. Going into 39, you're like getting there. I'm an OG.
I'm young. I'm vibrant though. I feel like I know I'm not 21, based off like when I wake up in the morning time
And your feet.
and my feet and stuff be hurting. Hey,
Funny story.
Go ahead. You tell it. You tell it.
Story time. So we're out on a date last night, you know, celebrating, you know, something monumental for the
Feet
Big
be
Dog
hurting.
Talk podcast. We park the car. We go into one new spot. If you follow us on Instagram, y'all know we love trying new spots. And so we tried this new spot. We were like, it was all right. So then we Google spot number 2. We map quested, whatever you want to call it. And it's like a 7-minute drive. So we're like, 7-minute walk.
7-minute walk.
No problem. We walk. That's not 7 minutes. That's nothing.
So we walked 7 minutes.
So we start walking about 5 minutes in.
Right.
And then I hit the map quest and it says
6 minutes left.
6 minutes more. We looked at each other. We walked forward to test our feet. And we said, nah.
Feet can't do it.
Feet don't fail me now.
Feet
We
was
going
gonna
back
start
to
hurting.
the car. My
Feet
heel was hurting.
All right.
Listen.
Your body started changing.
We need a podiatrist at this point, okay?
Body started changing. And I was not going to walk another 6 minutes and my feet was going to be killing me.
Because my feet said so. And
No,
I'm
we
almost
both-
44. My feet said, girl, get your butt
We
back to the
turned
car.
around.
And so what we did was we turned back around. We got to the car and we drove 2 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely did. We were not walking.
Don't judge me, judge your mama. That's it.
Wait, don't say that.
Not me. They could judge your mama. Because, I mean, I'm 44. My heels hurt. Almost 44. My heels hurt.
My heels hurt.
I need a podiatrist at this point.
Listen, any podiatrist recommendation, and this guy over here got his feet. Oh.
The production team, they real shady because they got good feet.
And they young. But look, so look, reality
Shout out
is.
if you got good feet.
So look, reality is. So I'm 30. I'm getting ready to make 39.
That's a great thing.
And I'm grateful to be able to say that. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I'm healthier than the average 39-year-old. Mm-hmm. I will say that. But I do have a hard time accepting the fact that I'm not 21, 22 or 23.
Or 29 for
or
that
29.
matter.
You know, I'm realizing that I have to, your body starts to like get more tired. It's like more draining.
You need warm-ups.
No, stop that. Stop that. I'm 39 and I'm stronger than ever. But if I have to tell the truth, I'm more intentional now than ever with my health.
That's what I mean about the warm-up.
I have to go to the gym 5-6 days out the week. I have to like eat healthy, and you know what I mean.
You got to know when not to walk 6 more minutes.
Yeah. Although I'm happy and grateful to be 30, getting ready to make 39.
Story time.
Oh.
I told him this story last night, so I'm excited. You know, we had our little photo shoot for BDT.
Right.
And so I'm feeling cute. I got my makeup done. I'm getting dressed. I get in the mirror right back. I told you, I tried to bust a little, a little twerk moment.
Yeah, that's not funny to me.
My back said, oh.
That's not funny.
I said, oh, okay, let me try one more time, make sure it's real.
That's not funny.
So I tried it again.
We were just young and vibrant.
And my back said, no, girl, you can't do that.
That was the Lord telling you not to do that no more.
Because he wants me to preserve my back.
Right.
And so
Get
I
some
came
wisdom.
to the realization
Turmeric.
yesterday
Herbs.
that
Stretch.
I'm
Yoga.
I have reached the auntie twerk stage. I'm okay with that too.
Hey, so listen.
I'm at the auntie
look,
twerk stage.
So what's crazy?
It's cool though.
No, look,
it's cool. I like it here. I love it here.
But look,
I
you
love
do
it
got
here.
an auntie twerk stage.
I love it here.
No, look, because when you dance now, and you so listen, and the way you try to like twerk and shake your butt, you put one hand on your leg, right, and you don't move your butt. You put your cheek go up and your arm go in the air like you.
It's all in the. It's like
Yeah, you be looking like an auntie all the way.
Because things get stiff. Things happen. You know, he's going on 39. I'm going 44.
Yeah, but I'm not accepting that.
No.
I'm
I'm accepting the fact that
I'm fly.
So when people see me, they have no inclination that I'm almost 44. I love it there, right? But me trying to twerk like the girlies in their early 20s.
All right, well, you don't have no business twerking anyway.
I have no business doing that. And so I'm to the realization now that I got to give me a mean, sexy two-step.
Yeah, you do. Life is changing.
I'm good with that.
Life is changing. So this is the thing though. You better get with it because life is always transitioning. I can't believe I just can't do a sprint without pulling a hamstring.
You remember when that happened when we were on vacation with the kids and you took off
I
running?
raced my 10-year-old.
And you had a messed up hamstring for the whole vacation.
Anyway, man. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that no more. That's
Story time.
Anyway, what are we talking about today?
We talking about you turning almost 39, me turning almost 44, but we really want to talk about is age, right? But age from the perspective of evolution,
right,
self-development, healing. And so what would you tell
Are you asking me a question right now?
18-year-old self?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. What would you tell your 18-year-old self, babe?
Say that again?
What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
In the space that I'm in now?
What would Big Charles tell 18-year-old Charles?
Ooh. What would I do?
And it's a hard question, right?
Like,
so here we
what
go
we
again.
doing? What are you doing?
I know.
What would I tell my things. So I can start it off, but we're gonna have to elaborate and break this down.
There's layers.
Because now you're making me think about the phase of life I was in at 18. You're making me think about.
I want us to think about.
You're making me think about my circumstances. You're making me think because I was with my, you know what I mean, with my parents. I was in college. I was going back and forth from college to the, you know what I mean, being in the hood. I'm thinking about my mentality.
Right.
You know what I mean, wanting to fight. I'm thinking about all of that.
Right. So, it's loaded. So it's a lot to unpack.
Oh, where do I start? What would I tell my 18-year-old self? Okay. I would tell my 18-year-old self that it's not you you're not the reason why you're not the reason why you're fighting. Mm. You're not the reason. The reason is because you have a lot of confidence and you come from a loving home. Mm-hmm. And most people don't. Most people come from a broken home, which brought upon more problems with themselves. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that in this context because at 18 I was in college and I was always having to fight all the time. Mm-hmm. And I know you know what I mean. I was cocky and egotistical, but I never was in a way where I would belittle anyone. I was just confident in myself. I was good in football, good in sports. I exercised, I worked out. You know what I mean? Home training, love myself too, come from two loving parents.
Right.
But someone would always want to smoke with me back then. Mm-hmm. And now that I used to always why am I fighting? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then I look back at it now, who I am now, and I'm looking back that I was just a confident person. Mm-hmm. And these people over here were insecure about my confidence. And it's because of everyone wasn't brought up in an environment like I was brought up in. I was brought up in a loving home. You know what I mean? My mom, dad made life about me. Mm-hmm. I was taught how to be a man. I was taught how to treat women. Right. You know, I had some hard lessons. Look a man in his eyes, shake his hand firmly, be confident. You know, principles that I stood on. And most people didn't have that when I look back at it now. Right. When I break things down now. And it wasn't me or my confidence. It actually was them. That's a small. So what would you tell yourself?
I mean, similar to what you just shared, I went to college at 17 in August. And I turned 18 in November. And so I'm from New York, but I went to college in North Carolina. Right. So I was a ways away from home. And I was in a new place, really by myself with nobody that I knew. Mm-hmm. But coming from the environment that I had just came from where you gon' make sure you're not the prey, right? Right. I'm never going to be the prey. I'll be the predator before I be the prey, right? So I had a chip on my shoulder, you know, coming from my previous environment, even coming to a new environment, which is college life in the South. I went to an HBCU. I had a chip on my shoulder, and I'm like, nobody's definitely not going to try me. Mm-hmm. And so I brought that energy and that mentality with me as an 18-year-old in college, and it got me in a lot of trouble. It actually got me suspended the second semester of my freshman year in college because I got into a big fight with some girls from another state, and the girl that I was fighting with, she actually cut one of the girls' pinkies off. And so because I was involved in an altercation, it got me suspended from college the second semester of my freshman year.
So what would you tell that person?
Just keep going. Like, honestly, just keep going because...
So first of all, you say, and don't forget that. You say keep going, but so now that you're able to look at that situation, is it any way that you can embody that energy that you were in at 18-year-olds and tell me like what did that feel like?
It felt like survival mode.
Okay.
It felt like I said in the beginning, it felt like I'm never gonna be the prey. I'm not allowing anybody to try me because I'm not the one to be played with. Right? Because in my hood, I'd already proven that, right? So in a new environment, my energy linked up with people that had that same mentality, which got me caught up in a situation that interrupted, me being able to stay on campus. So I continued studying college, but I had to live off campus.
So why would you tell yourself to keep going?
Because you're not a product of your. I could have thought that I was a product of my environment, but I wasn't.
Right.
It was just circumstantial. It was just environment, and it also, environmental from the perspective where my parents did everything in their power to raise me the right way. Like I had a great education. I went to private school from kindergarten all the way up until 10th grade, right? I went to public school in 10th grade. So I only did public school 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. I had a great education from that early foundation. However, what I know now is that sometimes environmental things do impact how you show up.
I know for sure. Like now that because you got my brain spinning now.
I'm
what
happy
would I
about
tell
that.
my 18-year-old self? I also would tell myself at 18, like relax and like enjoy life. I was, I'm
uptight.
I was uptight. I'm a preacher's kid. You know what I mean? So I had a certain image I had to portray. My father, pastor, my mother, first lady, or he was like even a youth pastor, youth first lady, and that image that you had to portray. It imprisons you, and I grew up like non-denominational, Pentecostal, somewhere in that, you know what I mean? In that
Holy Ghost sanctified.
Yes. So everything was a sin back then.
Yes.
Everything was like it was like you couldn't enjoy life. Everything was wrong. Everything was you going to hell. You had your thoughts that's going on in your mind that you can't control. You're going to hell. Things that you experiencing at an 18-year-old as like my hormones changing.
Right.
You having sex. You're going to hell.
Right.
You know what I mean? You try some alcohol. You're going to hell. So then, like, I was struggling. I was actually, now that I look at it, I was having like a war with self at that age.
Say that.
Like my nature, my innate being.
Yep. And
living up to this image of what a Christian looks like per se. And at 18 years old, that was a lot of mental, I don't like using this word, but it was a lot of like mental trauma, you know what I mean, that it carried over into my adult years. I didn't start having fun until I got with my wife. I didn't have any fun in college.
So we're very early into this conversation, but when you're making me now think about 18, there's a huge internal like struggle as an 18-year-old because you don't really know what you don't know.
What would I tell myself?
But you think you know a lot. Right? And so when I put myself in my space at where I was at 18, like I said, freshman in college, went to college far away from home, no family was around. I had to basically get it on my own. It really put me in survival mode. And what I would tell myself is, like I said, keep going. You're not a product of your environment, right? And like, you can do this.
Right. You
can literally do this. I know it feels like the chips are stacked up against you. And that, because I am literally the first person in my entire family to go to college.
Wow.
I'm a first generation college graduate in my family.
Wow.
So I had absolutely nobody to rely on and get advice from during this experience. Like when you think about our daughter who just graduated from college, you've been to college, I've been to college. We were able to give her sound advice from experience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I felt like I had a lot to prove to people when I should have been proving it to myself.
I mean, you got to think about it though. When you're 18 years old, when you're 18 years young, you have a different your mental space. You have a different mental world. You know what I mean?
Completely.
Than you have right now. I'm 18. You know, you basically I'm living for my parents for a sake.
You feel like that's something to prove, right?
I'm feeling like I have to live for them.
Validation.
Yeah, to make them proud.
Yeah.
You know, and I still like live in a way to honor them now. But I felt like I was living from a perspective of what they wanted for me in life.
Right.
You know, I also would tell myself at 18 years of age that y'all hear the parrot in the background.
We don't want to know what you would tell yourself. It's all right. We're good.
Okay.
We're
all
good.
right.
We're good.
So what I would also tell myself, my 18-year-old self, is that you actually are blessed to be able to grow up in a house that your environment that you're growing up in, especially from the environment that you come from. You know, growing up in the hood, my parents had me at a young age, and they done a great job with me with the tools that they had.
Right.
So I would definitely because at 18 years old, you know, you can have attitude with your parents. You mad at them. They think they know it. This is what an 18-year-old is saying about.
At 18, you got an attitude, period.
You got an attitude, right? But
You
it's
got an
usually with the
attitude.
ones that you're closest with,
Right.
You know. So I also would tell myself, oh, this is a good one. I would tell myself that your discipline will pay off. Keep going. Your choices that you're making now, the vision that you see for yourself, your older self, it will pay off. If you keep walking the walk that you know what I mean, that's different than your friends, it's gonna eventually pay off.
Right.
Because I'm happy here. I'm happy about the choices that I've made. You know, because where we come from, we don't have. Where we come from, and you want to come out of that situation, you don't have too many chances to make the wrong choice because we're already in a hole. You know, so for the most part, I'm happy with 99% of my choices that I've made. So I would tell my 18-year-old self, boy, your discipline, your sacrifice, your hard work ethics, it's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off.
It's gonna what?
It's gonna pay off. So, you know, so I would, okay, I'm gonna switch this though.
Let's go.
So because we're talking about what we would tell our 18-year-old self, I was 18, 20, 21 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That's your past self. You just asked me what would we tell our past self. You said keep going. You said like, listen.
You're not a product of your environment. You made the right choice. Like you're on the right path.
Your story is your story.
What you see right now is not what you're about to see in 20 plus years.
So let me ask you this then. What would your present self tell your future you 20 years from now?
Really?
Yeah, I like having these kind of conversations because if you have, so listen, a wise man. Well, you gonna hold that?
Keep going.
A wise man in the Bible said that you should put that there's to everything there is a season.
Right.
And you have to realize that seasons are always changing. And at 18 years old, that was a season. At 38, 39, this is a season.
Definitely is a season.
At 60 years old, that will be a season. So I'm asking you, what would you tell yourself 20 years from down the road? Because it's necessary that you prepare and plan and have some sort of vision for who you want to be 20 years down the road.
All right, so here it goes. You said 20 years or you said future self?
I know I just said a man in the Bible, but that's actually Ecclesiastes 3 and chapter 3, verse 2. I just wanted to make sure because I like when I talk that talk. I want you to know I know what I'm talking about. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 2. In all things, there's a season.
Shout out to my father-in-law, my pastor.
Right. I'm sorry.
So repeat the question. So what would I tell my future self or 20 years?
So what would you tell so we just talked about your past self. What would you tell your future self 20 years from now? Your 20-year future self you. What would you tell that person?
I mean, 20 years from now, I would look back and tell myself that.
No. You're not looking back. You're looking forward. What are you telling the 60-year-old you 20 years from down the road? Like who like it's in the hopes of.
So right now I'm going to speak to my future.
Yes. Thank you.
Listen, sometimes you got to get understanding.
All right. So speak to your future then. What would you tell your future you?
It's real simple. Look what you did. Look at your hard work. Look at your dedication. Look at your sacrifices. Look at your healing. Look at what all of that brought to your latter self.
Okay.
Simple for me.
Okay. Why are you just looking at me like that?
Because now
you're pondering.
Yes, because when you ask a question like that, obviously
it's more to dig into.
In this sort of space, there's a
need
to give an answer, right? Because you asked the question, and so I'm thinking like, what would I tell my 64-year-old self?
That's why you breathe.
If I'm 64, I'm like, I already know. We already talk about. I'm retired, where we talk about our retirement already, and I'm living like the life that I've always envisioned for myself. You know what I mean? I've created.
So I'm the question. I know you created. I'm gonna pause though, because I saw you sit in that. Yeah. I'm like, so why are you looking at me like that? Because I know that you were that. So we ask questions to make ourselves sit with ourselves.
Right.
And I know like it's easy to say something, but then after you spoke, you like really like sat in it, and it was like, I know there's more to say to that 60-year-old
self.
It's
a lot to it's a lot to say that I don't even think that I can even try to embody in this moment, right? Because at 43 years old, and what I'm working towards and how I envision my future 20 years from now, it's literally the life that I'm imagining right now. Like, I will literally feel like a miracle. I will literally feel like, makes me emotional, that God chose to like show me so much favor and allow me to not only live the life that I imagined, but for me to carry out the purpose in which he placed me on this earth to do.
How we digging?
Because
let's dig.
Even as it relates to like my business, like I know that my business is purpose driven. I absolutely know sitting here today, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And I know that that's making room for my family. That's making room for my husband to chase his dreams, which is actually the catapult to our real true life. You know what I'm saying? So as I sit here and I think, I'm just like, I feel like gratitude, because I just know that God's word is never null and void. And I know the things that God speaks to me about our life and about my life and about what I'm doing now to get us to that point. And so 20 years from now, I'm just going to be so grateful to God that he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And it won't really be about me. It'll be about him, and it'll be about my obedience to him and living out those previous 20 years exactly how he had set it up for me to live.
Right. Huh? See, the reason I like asking these sort of questions, because I know they seem like really practical.
They're jam-packed questions.
But if like I said earlier, you gave me a quick answer from the top of your brain, and then after you finish, you had to sit in it, and then I can just see your mind. It was just like starting to spin. So these sort of questions that we ask ourselves, they should elevate you, because honestly, who I am right now, the decisions that I'm making right now are for
20 years.
20 years down the road.
Yeah.
Listen, the fruits of my labor that we're enjoying now, this is from years and years and years and years and years ago. And my advice to anyone, you have to start living according to your vision, how you see your life. You have to go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life that you imagine for yourself. So the reason I asked Big Shay, what would she say to her 20-year-old future self, is because we have to plan for every season of our life. If you're a wise person, you don't listen. Why would I wear short shorts in the wintertime?
Right.
That means I haven't planned accordingly. Why would I wear a jacket down south in the summertime and it's 100 degrees. Right. So my point I'm making is you want to plan for every single season as much as you possibly can.
Right.
If I ask myself, if I was to speak to my 20-year-old self, my 60-year-old self.
Yep.
If I was to speak to my 60-year-old self, I would say, I'm doing my absolute best to take care of you now. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I've done my absolute best. I'm doing my absolute best off of my choices and my lifestyle to show that I honor my 60-year-old self now.
I love that.
I
love that.
That when I do become 60, I want my 60-year-old self to really realize that I really reverence who you are and the work that you've put in. Not only for your children, but for your children's children's children.
Right.
I actually would celebrate my 60-year-old self because I know the sacrifice that I have put in, the work that I've put in to change the family lineage, not only for my kids, but for my kids' kids. I know the intentionality that I put in. This is the 60-year-old me now.
Yep.
To honor God, to honor my parents, to honor my ancestors, to honor myself, to honor my family. I really would tell my 60-year-old self that I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I love
that.
Like
you changed the game. You've sown so many seeds into this world. And this is why you are here. You are here because you were intentional about being here. So I'm asking you guys that are watching, what will you tell your 20-year future you? What would you say to the past version of yourself? Now I gotta be even deep. Like, what would you tell yourself now?
Oh God, Big Charles. See, I come up with these doggone things we could talk about.
Because you got me spinning. I like these kind of conversations. Y'all see, listen, I only can get these type of conversations with my wife on the podcast. Other than that, she want to go party. She want to do all the things.
That's not true. I'm working hard. I'm tired.
Yeah, you definitely working hard.
Don't do that.
No, you definitely working hard. We definitely.
Then I want to go party.
Yeah. We first of all, we work really, really hard.
Very hard.
But we have to be intentional though. Like I said, in all things there is a season, and a wise person will do their best to prepare for it. You are a product of where you are today is because of your past choices. Where we will be in our future,
right, is
because of our present choices. Right?
Correct. One thing about me, Big Charles, that I have this about me. I have a very don't stop, keep going, put your head down mentality.
Yeah, you do that.
I really, really, really embody that. One, because it's proven to work in my life. It's proven to work personally. It's proven to work from a business aspect. It's proven to work that if you put 100% into one thing, that you're going to get 100% out. You know, I'm not a firm believer in putting 20% over here, 20% over here, 20% over here, 30% over here. I'm not a believer in that. So if I had to speak to my current self, I would just simply, again, tell myself, like, girl, you on the right track. You got to keep going. And I couldn't say that I have to keep going based off of what I know God has shown me for my future self that I just talked about.
That's it.
That's my motto. You got to keep going. Just don't, whatever you do, don't stop.
I would tell my present self, like, boy, you do things your way. Like, you are authentic, you are honest, you don't care for the most part what people think about you. You care about what your loved ones think about you. And you just do things your way. Man, you're a very powerful being. Stay being you, stay true to being you. And people gonna continue to like you for either who you are or not like you for who you are. But you are one of a kind. You are not a product of your environment. You accept something. You accept the things that you've been through. You use it for the betterment of self. But present self is a bad boy.
I mean, I learned a lot from you. I learned that presently who I am right now, people benefit from being around me. Like what I present to the world, what I do, how I show up is a big deal. Like I'm a big deal. Right? Like I'm a big deal. And I worked hard to become a big deal right now. Big Shay in 2023.
Right.
I busted my ass to become this big deal. And so there's no, like, I'm not changing anything.
My light is shining. Period.
It's up and it's stuck.
I
like it here.
I'm not dimming my light for nobody. I don't care if it make you feel insecure.
And everybody's not for you.
Listen, I guarantee. I'm talking to Big Charles right now. Big Charles will never dim his light for nobody ever again in life. I would never make myself less than in order to make you feel more than. You know, Big Charles is gonna always be Big Charles for the rest of his life, forever. I'm happy here, and again, I would ask you, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? What would you tell your present self? And what would you tell your future self? Why? Because in everything there is a season. And we must prepare our absolute best for every single season.
Well said.
Well said?
Well said.
We ready to go?
It's nothing else to say.
Well, we ready to go, man. Until next time, y'all tune in every single Tuesday for another episode of the Big Dog Talk podcast. You can follow your boy Big Charles at I am Charles Hawkins, I.
Black Magic 369 on Instagram.
And you follow us on all podcast platforms. Follow us on Instagram, Big Dog Talk _podcast. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big Dog Talk Podcast. We love y'all.
Until then, do work
I'm
on
going
self.
in.
I'm going
Peace.
hard.